Right, we are recording.
What's
Is that
happening? What's happening,
is
homie?
that a make Make America agree Make America Again hat on your head?
Now this is Make America Indigenous again.
Indigenous. What does that mean? Like go back to the basics, pure.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. If I was to make a hat, that's what it would say. Make America Indigenous again.
So M-A Make America AMAIDG blah blah blah.
No, it'd just be MAIA. Yeah, Make America
It's a big
Indigenous again.
word. I can't see it in my head. I can't see the symbols or the letters. MAGA. CAG. Keep America great.
Because I actually when he first came out with the hat, I was actually trying to think of the time period he was referring to, but I guess it would depend on who you ask in regards to when America was great. 'Cause I can't think of a time. For as long as I know, America's been killing folks for whatever they want.
Like Keep America Great was Ronald Reagan's campaign quote, and he thinks it all went to shit then, because like Reagan built it up, and then you've got all these people who are just in there for their own best interest, and Trump's like, I'm going to take it back to there, Keep America Great again. So Reagan was his favorite kind of one of them all. It's basically like Reagan is like Trump. He was basically a film star celebrity, and didn't give a shit about the powerful. He was just doing what was good for the people. Like its fan base is basically like the rest of the country. So he's just following like the same patterns. But yeah,
I just, as a person, I feel like he could at least make an attempt to be a good person. I will say though, I like the fact that he's he's now put more people in the mindset of uh being an entrepreneur, being their own boss. I do like that aspect of it though. It's making people get off their ass in that aspect.
so you like him as a whole or not?
Um as a as a person, just because of the certain things he said. Now, I'm not perfect either, and I make a lot of crude jokes, but just a lot of the shit he says, I
Grab
don't
her by the
think I would
pussy.
want to meet him. Yeah, like, sheesh, guy. I mean,
That's
you
just
could have
locker room
whispered
banter.
it.
Like you were like that at school. I was like that at school. Every guy's like that. It's just people want something to take people down, and that's the perfect thing, isn't it?
For me, I feel like it's okay. You have that is a valid point. I just feel like once a person gets to a certain platform, they're held to a higher standard. So there's just certain shit you don't say. Like that reporter who claimed she said knackers, but so many people heard niggers. It's just one of those things you just it comes with the territory. It's a responsibility that you accept when you accept that title. So yeah, you may he may be in the locker room with the guys, but because he's the president of America, I just feel like, guys, maybe something you shouldn't say. Or like when he did that, when
But
he
that was
mocked.
like 15, 20 years ago. It's like holding you accountable for something you did when you were 7.
Oh, I
Like
get held
like
accountable for shit I did when I was 2.
like we evolve from the past, whether it was a right choice or bad choice. So you can't be held accountable now for stuff you said years ago. If you still believe in that mindset, then yeah, you're the same person. But if
Bill
you have
Cosby
evolved,
was.
then huh?
Bill Cosby was.
Yeah, so he literally hasn't changed. So he never learned from mistakes. So he's the same person. Like hold him accountable. But if you've learned from situations, like if Trump understand, like if he went through the mindset years ago of I shouldn't have said that, then yeah, he's a changed person. But if he would still say that type of thing now, then that is who he is. And is it really right to have someone like that with that mindset? Again, it's personal choice, really. But yeah,
Yeah,
people can't
definitely.
be
Hell yeah.
held responsible for something that they said years ago because we are like animals. We evolve, and that's it. We evolve. Like we're constantly growing. We're constantly new people. Yes.
I guess that would come down to one or two things. Either it depends on who you ask, or it sounds like we're just gonna agree to disagree to that. Because, in my opinion, Bill Cosby is not in the spotlight enough for us to determine whether or not he's changed. We don't really see anything in regards to his inner workings, his daily life, right? But
In jail.
as far as Trump, right, he's in jail because he's guilty until proven innocent, but that's America. But Trump, I mean, because to my knowledge, this was the first time Bill Cosby has been accused or was accused of something like that, only to find out that the female did admit to concocting, fabricating a story, as opposed to the president of this great nation, 25 times. 25 times sexual misconduct.
What, Trump or Bill
But
Cosby?
no, Trump.
Again, like
25 sexual misconduct. So, I mean, like, and that just goes back to you saying if a person has changed and evolved, yes, typically that's what humans do, but some humans choose not to. And in my opinion, Trump is one of those people. So, because making the locker room banter comment and then making the gesture mocking someone with special needs, that's, I mean, that, like, what have you learned to do
so
that?
on that thing, right? By the way, can you turn your camera landscape? Is that because then it's landscape on my phone?
Oh shit, that was a. Let me see. Well, maybe I can just turn my phone
Yeah,
sideways.
literally just have to turn your phone.
Gotcha.
Perfect, right? So yeah, when he did that, so unconsciously, so consciously, I don't think you, me, or anyone would knowingly, consciously take the mickey out of a disabled person. That person happened to be disabled in some form, handicapped, right? Obviously, Trump, like people at that level, meet so many different people. And unconsciously, he may have remembered that person who was like that, right? He was just merely mimicking that person, how we spoke. So if I'm a creative person with my hand gestures like I am, you'll see me doing that all the time. And Trump would have, at that very second in time, gone into his mindset and saw that person was doing that. And that's what he was doing. And he may not have recalled that that person had a disability, but he was simply just taking the piss out of someone. Because what Trump does is he takes the piss out of you or tries to weaken you before you attack him. Or if you've attacked him, he tries to weaken you. So, you know, and it doesn't matter what it is, it's just trying to like weaken you basically. And he's just taking the piss out of that person. Did he know that he was disabled? Did he remember that person was disabled? Again, you don't know Trump's true intentions when he did that. I believe that he wouldn't just mimic someone who's got a disability because he would know that's the wrong thing to do and the shit he would get. But if you were somebody who was always like doing your hand gestures, I would start doing that when I'm speaking about you and how you are. But for all I know, you've got a condition where your muscles are, you've got like a nervous condition. And I don't know that until later that day. So when he was doing that, he was merely visioning that person, what he was like. But I don't think he was doing it knowing he was, say, disabled or whatever, and taking the piss out of him being disabled. Again, Trump's impulsive. He just says something and it's almost like it's too late. But I don't think he was doing that on purpose.
So do you think that Trump being and I'm gonna word it, you know, this is just my opinion on it. So do you think Trump being appointed as president of America, do you think that he should be held to a higher standard as opposed to, let's say, an interviewer who would be the type of person to mock someone or just a person to mock someone on national television? Do you think he should be allowed to do that just because he is human? Or should he be held to a higher standard because he is the president of these great nations or this great nation?
If someone's broken the law, then if you're a citizen of that country, or if you're on that country from another country, then if you've broken the law, then you are accountable or held accountable, subject to being found out, going through the court system. But again, we are all humans and we all make mistakes. And it's not about right or wrong. It's not about truth or whatever. It's about circumstance. And if someone has an agenda to push something which isn't true to get to the same destination, which is prosecution or whatever, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. It's just if you push through the process enough, then there'll be a flaw, then you'll get there. And it's the truth is irrelevant. But should Trump be held accountable for stuff he said in the past? Where it's like saying if you want to be a school teacher.
No, the present. The things that he's saying now, currently, that he's been saying for the last 4 years. I think it's 4 years.
Okay, what stuff in particular? So I missed the question.
Quoting his comments verbatim, I don't want to tell you a lot, but there have been more than enough instances. Oh, okay, well, we can just talk about Twitter. There's been more than enough instances where society, as well as myself, have felt that Trump, the president, has more important things on his agenda, or should have more important things on his agenda, as opposed to being emotional on Twitter. That's what I mean. Do you think he should be held to a higher standard? Do you think the president of the United States should really be worried about what people are tweeting about him, as opposed to what's going on with America?
So, like any job, you have your role, and his role is to serve. If you're a teacher, your job is to teach the children, say history, if you're a history teacher. But at the same time, you are a human being. You are your personal self as well as your professional self. Like every wild animal, for example, a lion, it will nurture its cubs, but then it will also attack the other animal trying to take the cubs. So we've got this two sides. Let's just say that the professionalism is the serving side, the Trump serving, writing policy, helping people. But then the personal side is compliments. So isn't used to having people be negative to him on that scale. So if Trump has never had like that much negativity, and he's basically the same person as he was when he was 18, which is a daddy's boy, wants to be as good as his dad, scared to have anything negative said against him, then from 18 to 70, he's going to be the same person. But he's never been on that scale where he has had so much negative energy coming at him. Whereas if Trump was, say, 20 years old and he had a load of negative press, then you would have hoped that you realize, okay, I can't beat the press, ignore it. And that's what Obama did. He didn't really respond to anything negative because it's just part of the game. But because Trump is all about positive energy and attention and fame and stuff, he's used to having like good reports in the paper about him, like with the Apprentice days. So it just so happens that he's 70 years old and he's president, and that he is responding to negative stuff. Whereas if he had it when he was younger, as I said, you would have just got it out of his system. So people elected Trump because he was a person. He's a true person. Like most politicians, they say what they want to, they say what you want to hear for their own interest. Whereas Trump, it was just like, I'm me, like it or leave it. I don't care. I'm going to be me. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And he's done pretty much 95% of the stuff that he said he was going to do. Now, everyone has flaws, but people liked Trump because he was just so pure and genuine. He said it how it was. He didn't care what you thought. He became a human being. Whereas politicians, they're like not seen as humans. They're seen as like just robots. Whereas Trump was a human. And that's why people connected to him, because they saw themselves, which is, I'm not perfect either. I say stupid, dumb shit. But at the end of the day, as long as you are doing it for the right reasons and change is happening majoritarily for the better, then we're going to have nothing to lose. So should he be held accountable? Look at all the dumb shit most people are saying on Twitter. Trump's no different.
President.
Yeah,
He's
I know, but
different, but only because of his title and his wealth. But
so you know, like back in the day, a leader of a tribe, for example, is just another tribesman, right? But he becomes the leader because he's bigger in size or he's got more wisdom. So the leader of a tribe or the leader of a pack of animals, he was once part of the pack. So
Mm-hmm.
a leader of a country is simply just somebody who was part of the tribe who thought, I can run this tribe better, and work their way up. So it's not that he shouldn't be being himself or saying the shit he's saying on Twitter, because he's part of us anyway. So if you and me are just dumb people writing crap on social media, and then we go to the pub, and then we have kids, and we look after our family, and Trump's no different. He's just one of us, which worked his way up to a leadership position. So he shouldn't be punished for saying ordinary dumb shit, because that's what a leader is. You are amongst the pack and you work your way up.
So not necessarily punished, just held accountable. So if we're gonna use that logic, let's apply that to, let's say, a police officer, or you know what, we won't even go that far. Let's say a teacher, right? We'll just say a regular old school teacher, regular school teacher. If a school teacher, everyone knows, right, who this is in the community. Everyone knows this teacher, right? She first was a student, right? And then she's worked her way up, to be the teacher. So she's a teacher, and she goes out one weekend and she uploads a video of her doing a line and drinking some tequila, right? And smoking a few doobies. Me, as a regular person, the way I see that, hey, I mean, that's what she likes to partake in. Hey, I smoke my marijuana, I drink my Jack Daniels, so who am I to judge her? But society is not going to view it that way because she is a teacher and held to a higher standard. So if people have that perspective, or if people feel that strongly about a teacher or a police officer, or just a role model in general. If a role model was to do something that society didn't like, I'm pretty sure they would no longer be considered a role model. They might even lose their blue check on Instagram, right? But the president is just continued to do these things that would be frowned upon if someone else was to do them. That's what the blatant double standard is what I don't get. And I'm not even, a lot of people think I'm just automatically trying to pull the race card, black or white. But to me, it's much deeper than that. I just feel like he should be held to a much higher standard than he is. I understand he's human. I understand everything. But the most important thing is he knew what came with this territory before he accepted the role and the title. So for him to behave as if he is above the law when other people don't have that, it's just not right to me. But that just goes into a whole bigger spiel. I think America just needs a whole overhaul. Honestly, I think we just need to get rid of this whole system and just throw this shit out the window and try it again. It's been fucked from day one because not everybody was taking it into consideration. So naturally, up until this point, everyone is still not taking it into consideration.
So when you say that he should be held accountable for the things that he said, are you speaking about something in particular that he said?
Just the fact that, because I try not to memorize everything that's going on, especially with Trump or politics. But for me to live my everyday life, go about my daily life, and on social media or on TV or whatever source I get the information from, but for countless sources to have countless articles and headlines and pieces on Trump, to me says a lot, because think about it, we went from, and it is a shock to me, it's something like a culture shock. We went from a president who really didn't interact with I guess social media the way Trump does. We went from a very peaceful, docile president, to an arrogant, boisterous guy that we have now. So I'm not saying we should force Trump to behave as Obama did, but I do feel like Obama moved with grace when he held that title, as opposed to Trump. If you get what I'm trying to say.
So are you someone who is all about results or perception?
I'd lean more towards perception because results can vary.
So, for example, you'd rather have Obama with this image that he did, but not much is being done. Okay. But then you look at Trump, who's doing so much behind the scenes that you can't even begin to imagine, like, holy shit, I didn't even know that. But then has this like immature, boisterous bullshit kind of image on social media. But the results speak for themselves whilst he's waffling on social media. You'd rather have the Obama that's all about, hello, hi, how you doing? I'm Mr. Cool. But he's not really doing anything versus Trump doing all of his bullshit. But actually, 99%, 99 times the amount of stuff that Obama was doing, like the real groundwork of what makes a country, like the foundations of addressing issues when they occur. You'd rather the Obama perception as opposed to the Trump perception.
To me, that's that question, simple question, has a very complex answer, in my opinion. Um, I would prefer a president getting things done, but in regards to Obama getting things or not getting things done and Trump getting things done, um, I feel like there's a lot of moving pieces involved as to why one was not able to and one was. Um, let's say answer your question. Uh, I would prefer a president to get things done that benefit everybody, not just the upper class, though.
Do you think Trump is getting things done as a whole for everyone? So you've got, so when I say a tribe, I mean different culture tribes, I mean different city tribes, I mean different belief tribes, I mean different tribes of class, I mean different tribes of jobs. Trump is like, he's doing bits of everything.
For a particular demographic, in my
Yes, so
opinion.
so different like demographics, right? He's a businessman. In a business, when you hear an issue, when you hear like there's a problem with your shop, for example, you send the regional manager down and they fix the shop. Trump is a businessman. He hears things, he gets it done. He hears there's an issue, he gets a contractor to go and fix it. He hears this, he does it, okay? So Trump hears there's an issue with the prison system, he finds a solution. He sees there's an issue, people coming across the board, he puts a wall up. He sees there's an issue with whatever. Even though it may not be, it may not really do much as a whole, and it may only help a small amount of people here. Well, there's only a certain amount one person can do for 300 million people. When you say 300 million people in America, it's not just, okay, America belief and a man, we want this, Trump does it. Okay, America is made up of like thousands of different ideologies, beliefs, thoughts, and lifestyles and cultures, right? So it's impossible for one person to find a solution to every single problem. But it's all about moving forward and addressing issues as they occur so then they don't build up. So if Trump is addressing issues as and when he can, would you rather that or someone who is almost like a celebrity type image where you can look up to them and admire them, but really they're not getting anything done because it is all about perception and keeping the chain of people in that party, for example, going?
Okay, so let me give you a scenario, right? So, majority of the people in politics and Congress and the Senate and whatnot, holding different positions, majority of them, if I'm not mistaken, would be considered upper class, maybe upper middle
I can agree,
class.
yeah.
So if there's a president who is passing laws, or you know what, if there's a president who is going to do things that will benefit them directly and as well as indirectly, But on the other hand, they have this guy who wants to do things to help everybody but them. And in doing that, those same people he's asking for a vote or for approval, they will be affected, right? To them, they will lose money, and that's what it's really all about. They will lose money, they will lose different commodities, whatever the case may be. Naturally, those politicians, those people in Senate, those people in Congress, whatever position they may hold, they're going to lean towards someone who will help them fatten their pocket. And I feel like that's personally why Trump is able to get so much done, because the things that he wants done benefit those in upper class directly, as opposed to Obama trying to help the middle class people such as myself.
So everything is circumstantial, right? If you put on paper how much stuff did, say, Obama do for middle class, upper class, lower class, it would be like that, okay? Everything in life is never the same. It's always balanced here. Sometimes middle class get more, sometimes lower class get less, more, whatever, okay? Everything is about a balance. If you look at Trump, for example, and what he's doing for the upper class, middle class, whatever, okay? Again, it's going to be balanced. It's going to be more here, less here, some more here, less here, right? Everything is about a balance, and it's all circumstantial, right? Nothing stays the same. End of the day, it's about results. And if you try and compare results, then you'll see progression. But it's all progression in terms of charts of how one demographic was with this person versus with this person. Technically, as presidents come in, we should evolve. There should be it shouldn't get worse. It should just be a steady and maintain. But yeah, depending on for example, Trump's background and the people he knows and stuff. For example, if that's mainly upper class, then you would say that upper class stuff would get done better, because if you're connected to this person, you're going to want to contribute to this person. Whereas if Obama was just a middle class person, then he's going to know more middle class people. They're going to connect to him more, as opposed to the upper class would, and they would be more associated with him. But it all comes down to the proof in the results. It doesn't matter whether Trump he's a billionaire, or whether it was you who's on 20 grand an hour at Walmart. It's all about the results. If you are in office versus Trump, it's all about results. Millions of people are born each year, and millions die, right? So it's all about managing. A business is about managing. Yeah, you have to grow, but if you don't manage in the first place, you'll set yourself back, and there'll be issues. So a leader isn't necessarily about kind of growing or trying to do more than the last president. It's about maintaining the balance of society and humanity so it doesn't get worse. And if you have the ability to do more than the last person, then all you're doing is giving the next president kind of a 3-year kind of relaxation zone. Because if Trump is doing all the stuff which will be set in stone for another 6 years, and the next president who comes in doesn't have to specialize on those issues, because they've already been dealt with for the meanwhile, so they can focus on other stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Yes, so it literally comes down you can't run if you're a business owner, Starbucks franchise person. The Starbucks, they can't manage and make sure every store has the correct menus out, the correct tables, the correct food, the correct presentation, that they're all wearing the name badge. It's not possible. But all you can do is, when you become aware of these issues, try your best to address them. You can't manage everyone. And if you have someone manage your place, for example, you can't micromanage them. They either do it or they don't.
Or they don't.
And
right.
Most people who can manage, they want a big paycheck. And these people aren't going to be in your Starbucks if they're on 30 grand a year, because if they can manage, they're going to be running the top of a company. So you can't manage someone, but then you can't put somebody in there who can actually manage it as well as you can, because those people aren't there for the salary you're giving them. So it all comes down to results. Who is getting the most done? when he finds out about an issue, does he address it or does he let it get worse? And doesn't matter what people think about Trump, as a business mindset, when you hear there's an issue in one of your, say, restaurants or whatever, you can't ignore it. And every time Trump hears of an issue, even if it was just ASAP Rocky getting stuck in, I don't know, is it Sweden or Switzerland? Yeah, you could say, oh, it's celebrities and powerful looking after themselves. Yes, maybe. But when he heard about, for example, the person that Kim Kardashian brought to his attention, just like a normal person like you or me, he addressed it. And it's not, how about all the other people?
Who was the normal person like you and me? Kim Kardashian?
No. You know Alice? You know Alice? The black lady who was in prison for drug related years and years ago. Kim Kardashian went to the White House and she said about prison reform, and she managed to get Alice, the person out, who basically got a long time.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And I remember my exact issue and what it was with how that situation was handled, the solution for it. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It just when you started explaining it, shit, eureka. So my bad.
So Trump is the type of person, right? If you went to one of his rallies and he happened to walk past you and you said, Trump, my nan, my uncle, my brother, whatever, is in prison and he didn't do anything wrong. He had a bit of a weed on him, but for whatever reason, they kept him in for 7 years. I believe that he would be like, give me your name. He would then give your name to one of the advisors. They would then call you. He would hear your story and he would, for example, look into your case. It isn't about choosing about class, race or money or whatever. Trump is someone who, when he sees an issue or is aware of an issue, he gets it done. Now, he may hear about your relative. He will get it done, not because it benefits him politically or whatever, just because he now feels obliged to you as a human that he said, I'll get it sorted, that you kind of feel guilty if you don't follow up on your word. And because he's a man of his word, he has to do it. Hence why people knew that he isn't bluffing when he says, about he's going to bomb North Korea or Iran or China. He's going to put tariffs on because he's a man of his word. And if he says he's going to put 30% tariffs on you, you better renegotiate. He's somebody who says what he means and means what he says. Whereas the guy next to you also could have a relative in prison. And you're like to him, he got my relative out. And then the other guy's like, well, why isn't he doing it to my relative? That's because he didn't know your relative was in jail. It doesn't matter whether you're black or white, whatever. He didn't know your relative was in jail. So it's not, it's more in favor of this because of that. It's just he didn't know about it. Yeah.
I personally, at all, in the slightest bit, agree with majority of what you said.
You do or you don't?
Right, I don't.
You don't? Okay.
No. I agree with, and I say that because I can understand, or I can understand someone's perspective, right? But just because I understand your perspective doesn't mean I agree, right? So two different things to me. But yeah, so for the most part, I agree with everything you said. I agree with the fact that you said if Trump said he's gonna do something like bomb them, he did it. So hell, I believe that leads me to believe he gonna do majority of the shit he say he gonna do, right? But I don't believe that when you said that he didn't know about his uncle was arrested or incarcerated for marijuana charge, right? Or whatever the drug is. So you don't stay in America, correct?
I don't.
So with that,
hang on. Would you say I don't what? Sorry, America? I don't stay.
You don't reside in America.
Oh no, I'm from England.
Gotcha. Have you ever lived in America?
No.
Gotcha. So even though, are you familiar with how many people are currently incarcerated for a nonviolent?
No, I have no idea. No idea.
Enough to help make the owners of the prisons richer, right? We'll say that. Keep them rich. Enough. Do you know how many dispensaries there are popping up?
No idea. I don't even know what a dispensary is.
A dispensary, a place where you can go and buy marijuana.
I know it's getting popular, but not, no.
Yes. So growth. That's all that really matters. Growth, right? So if you don't know how many, the exact number, but you do know. And so my thing is, my point was, you don't stay here, right? So there's a reason you may not know the severity of the situation. But for me, I live here. I know people who have been arrested or been sent down the road, got locked up. You see what I'm saying? I got my first arrest at 18 because an officer found two roaches he could fit on his thumbnail, right? The judge dropped it, but you know what I mean? The fact that that was even a thing. But now in 2020, you have dispensaries popping up left and right, right? Weed is moving towards being legalized. I don't know when federally, but it's moving towards being legalized. And the fact that there are still people right now to this day sitting with another 20 years to do after they've already done 40, right? They have another 20 to do for marijuana, but you got these other people out here, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of race, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of your class, you feel what I'm saying? Regardless of your age, whatever the case may be, there are people who are now making money in a booming marijuana industry. When at the same exact moment, there are people sitting in jail because all they did was take a few, a few, a few pounds to a friend, or they were in the process of taking a few pounds to a friend. That right there is what irks me about the whole situation. I'm all for smoking weed, clearly. You see what I'm saying?
So are
But
you
let's be
somebody,
fair.
for example, right? If you built a house, right? You spent like $400,000 on a house, right? The brick, the insulation, the foundation, right? And all of a sudden, you want a different brick on the outside. Are you someone to just put new bricks on the outside and still have the old foundation inside? Or are you somebody who would spend your time and money knocking down the old bricks and the foundation, which will end up costing more than just to put the new bricks on?
Me, I'm a quality type of person. So yeah, I would take down the whole thing.
So,
I'd
for
take down the whole
example,
thing.
if evolution is about learning from the past, right? Man has learnt to do this because man did that, and then 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 man did that. The principle of evolution is you learn from the last person who did it. If you went back and undid everything because we've got to where we are now, we wouldn't be here because we'll be too busy and spending so much time going back and changing everything. So what I'm saying is that back in the day when marijuana was a big crime, and the people that got caught doing it, that was the law there and then, based on there and then. As we evolve, new policies are written, laws come into practice. Are you saying that if a law that comes into place affects a previous law, then it should be undone completely? So, for example, if having sex with under 16-year-olds is illegal, okay, 1 million people are locked up because 70 years ago, millions have did it and they are still serving time, for example. But the minute the law changes where it's now legal to have sex with people who are 16, does that mean you have to let every 1 million people out? Because that law was the reason why they're in jail. And if the law is changed, revoked or edited, that law doesn't exist anymore. So do you think that you should now go back and let everyone out because now the law says you can have sex with 16-year-olds? Does that make sense?
I understand exactly what you're saying and how you're trying to connect the two dots, but for me, you can't do that. The one most important difference would be the fact that with the situation I'm referring to, people are looking to get rich off of this. People are looking to support generations to come off of this, as opposed to just having sex for yourself. There's two different things. That I just feel like
if marijuana becomes legal, then that law doesn't exist anymore in America. So everyone who's gone to jail if they're still alive, should be let out. Because the only reason why they're in jail is because the law said it was illegal. But if now the law says it's legal, that law doesn't exist, which means everyone should be let out. But what I was saying to you is that there's policy, which is you get your people to do it, and then it goes through the chain and it gets written. But if Trump met you personally and you said about your brother was in jail, if he made that promise to you, I'll get it done, I honestly believe he would see you in his head like, please, Mr. Trump, you said you would. He could become a human and he would feel obliged to do it. Otherwise, he feels guilty. And if he's a man of his word, he has to fulfill it. So he would end up investigating and getting your, for example, uncle out. But if you had a person next to you and Trump didn't make that agreement to him face to face, that person would still be in jail for as long as he became face to face with that person and made that agreement, or the general policy changed where it affected everyone. Do you agree with what I'm saying?
To an extent.
It's like if you.
I
it's like
get
saying,
what you're saying. I just don't necessarily agree with everything.
If you saw an old granny in the street, right, and she fell over, you pick her up. But if you heard about all the grannies around the world falling over because they're just too weak to stand, you're not going to really give a shit because you're figuring out your own life. You've got your own shit to deal with.
I would always give a shit.
No. If there's 1 billion grannies all over the world, right, and they're all falling over, you can't go and help every single old person.
I would pick up every granny I walk past just because that's who I am.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You would address what you could see in front of you. If Trump said to you, I'm going to get your uncle out of prison, he would do it because he can see it in front of him. But he doesn't know about all the other millions of people in jail, just like you can't see all the other grannies around the world. But if you see 6 grannies on the floor, if you see 100 grannies on the floor, it may take you fucking years to pick them up. But because you've seen them, you have to do something about it because it's a human thing to do. Do you agree on that?
I feel like just because you don't see something doesn't mean you aren't aware of it.
Correct.
So because what it sounds like to me, the only way I can really see you trying to validate that is by saying seeing is believing. So because he hasn't seen every single inmate in jail, then he's not going to do anything until he does. Okay, well, hell, let's think about him doing the campaign, going to different prisons, like walk through the prisons. Let's get real, actual prison reform. I feel like what Trump did when he let that one person out and the person only got let out. Let's be realistic. The only reason that person got out, the only reason anything happened for that person is because of the source that let Trump know about that person incarcerated.
I agree.
Would you say Alice?
Absolutely agree.
You said
Alice. Alice
right?
is the name, yeah.
Right. So that's the only reason. Anybody else? So no, he didn't really want to do anything. It had to be Kim K did that for somebody. Kim K benefited some way, some shape, somehow from Alice being released or whatever took place, whatever transpired. You feel what I'm saying? So that right there, he did that just to appease people. That got enough people, including you, to say, well, he's doing some type of prison reform. No, he did something in regards to prison reform.
But you know what's interesting is I don't even think that he campaigned on prison reform. I think that it was just something that, as you said, you can't ignore it. Kim comes in and says Alice's person is still in prison for doing a bit of weed 10 years ago. You can't not do anything about it. It's not about policy. It's not about whether you feel a human connection. It's just what is the best step forward. And what he had in front of him was a person with a story who, and as a politician, which is about policy, you have to do something. Now, there is so many things that he could still do, so many things that he has done. yes, prison reform is one, like, say, major policy out of thousands and thousands and thousands of issues, right? Again, one man can't find a solution to every single issue, okay? There is just too many. All you can do as a leader is try your best to do as many as possible until you pass on the baton to someone else. Now, there's always going to be issues, okay? Every time you go left, there's an issue right. Every time you go right, there's an issue left. It's just the way life works, okay? If you are an animal and you are eating your meal, as soon as you look away, another animal is going to take it. It's just the way it works. So yeah, Trump can do so much. Trump is doing a lot. Obama did a lot. Everyone tries their best. I believe Obama tried his best, but it's not could he have done better, because he tried his best. Based on the cards that he was dealt, based on his situation, he did his best. Trump is doing his best.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You have made a lot of references to animals. So do you, like, is that how you see life, humanity, other people, as if they're animals trying to take the meal you have just you had to go fight for?
I believe that anything on this planet is part of the same energy. So whether you're a fly, an animal, a human, whatever, okay, we are alive. Our need is to stay alive. So we hunt for food, we mate, we need water, we need sun, and that is pretty much it. Man got too clever and we evolved too quick, and then everything happened. But ultimately, we're still animals, we're still primates fighting to be the head of the pack. We're no different. We've just evolved where there's now 1 million people following, as opposed to just, like, say, 20 zebras and one big zebra at the front. It's just like a ratio difference.
I love this because the way you see, I guess, the human race. You said the human race evolved too fast.
Yeah, too fast.
So I feel like we have digressed. Like, I feel like humans are above animals and primates. I feel like been here for a long time. Humanity, life, it shouldn't be dog eat dog, because we're not, yes, dog eat dog, but we're not dogs. You know what I'm saying? It should be humans love humans, you know what I'm saying? Humans nurture humans. I see humanity, people different. That's crazy.
But you do know, right? Everything in life vibrates and attracts the same into one, whether it's a fly, whether it's a human, or a fish, right? But if you look at the animal world, everyone is in harmony, and everyone's in harmony until there's another animal, for example, that takes over. Okay, everything is about share until it becomes dog eat dog, right? It's no different. Humans will love and nurture, but as soon as someone else comes and tries to take over the show, right, will take over the girl or starts getting more attention at school. Now there's a war. It's no different to another animal from another pack wanting to come and take that food. We are all small tribes made up of energy. The other tribe is made up of another energy. Okay, so even though we may be all the same animal, it's a different. These animals are familiar with these animals. These humans are familiar with these humans. Yes, we all nurture and love each other in our own tribe. So our humans of a tribe of, say, 20 or 30, elephants of 20 or 30, they love and nurture each other. They're also other elephants. That's also another people from another school, another pub, restaurant. But they're not the same. We're not made from the same beliefs, the same background. So yeah, we are a fellow human, a fellow elephant. But really, your humans and your family and your friends are different to my family and friends, even though we're still human. Those elephants, they look like an elephant to me, but they're not the same elephant. Like, they're different elephants. They know that elephant is not part of them. And so naturally, you are now repelling, which is the dog eat dog. So you attract, but then you also repel. And we're no different. Democrats trying to be Republicans. The aim is to serve, right? The aim is to serve. It's all about serving people. But why is it dog eat dog? It's the smaller, two different tribes. This elephant tribe, Democrat, this elephant tribe, Republican. We all want the same, to love and nurture our people, our elephants, our baby elephants. But as soon as someone else comes along to take over, it's not about being wrong or right. It's just taking over. And then you repel, dog eat dog.
I feel like you feel that way, and I feel the way I do, because that's what we were taught, right? Maybe not us in particular, but for the most part, that's how it takes place. It's what you're taught. You feel what I'm saying? It's the programming of the mind for whichever way you want to go. You feel what I'm saying? So I feel like if someone has the theory, right, dog eat dog, right, and they meet someone else who also has that theory, they have children, right? That's 3 kids. 3 people they have now sent off in the world. Well, we'll say 2 out of 3. They have now sent off into the world. You feel what I'm saying? With that mindset. Then someone with my mindset, right? Humanity, love humanity. I send off 2 out of 3. It's what we send off into the world. It's what we teach. And hey, your opinion's your prerogative. Human life is animals. What you don't mention about animals, they also love. You feel what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, if there's a bad animal, it's by itself. There's something wrong with that animal. You feel what I'm saying? There's
Absolutely.
a pack. There's tribes and villages and all of that. Once people get out of it's a dog eat dog, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? Not trying to sound like I'm judging or anything, but it's just me and my opinion. I feel like once we get out of the dog eat dog and we really realize that we are able to work together with tranquility, we can really do more. But I only live in America, and we got a long way to go. Because right now, America is just, what Trump has done really is create mass confusion. And that's what's going on right now. Nobody knows what they want to believe because there's really just too much to believe. That's one of the reasons I feel like Trump tweets too much. Or if he does tweet, he can tweet different things. Trump has the power to persuade the mood of a nation, or at least half the nation.
For example, right? Do you think that if something is better for the long cause, that basically it's almost like, do you think the ends justify the means? Are you someone who thinks like that?
No.
So you think that...
Wait, I mean, what do you mean by the ends justify the means?
So, for example, right, history will only tell how what Trump has done has impacted, for example, America. And you can compare to past presidents. It's only in time that when you look back in history that you'll see what this man done compared to other leaders, right? So yes, he's causing a lot of shit and confusion, putting a lot of stupid tweets out there, blah, 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 blah. But when he dies, which will probably be within like 15 years, his work has been done. And it's only when you look back and compare and you see what this person did compared to others that he literally shaped everything. Now, I don't mean the perception of what it seems to be. I mean the foundation of all the stuff that he did. When you look at it as a whole, how he did this and did this. When you look at it as a whole, how he impacted more people's lives on a small local level as opposed to on a bigger level. It's only when you look back do you see, wow, if it's about serving humans, how many humans have been affected in a good way compared to other leaders, that he outdoes it by 10. But we never see all that. We never hear all that. But it's only when you look back in time do you see. So all the shit that's happening now, do you think that the ends justify the means? That when you look back in, say, 30 years' time, and our children and how they live their life is based on the actions of past presidents?
Not for me and mine.
So the ends
Not for
don't
me and
justify the
mine.
means.
And when I say me and mine, I mean minorities.
For example, right? Let's just
Or
say,
not even just my now honestly, I apologize because it's much bigger than that. I'll say it's for middle to lower class. Us, hell nah. Because you're right. You're right. He has done a lot of things. For who? That's what I'm asking. For who? Who has it benefited? He is benefiting like-minded people. Like-minded, he is a businessman. That's what you told me, right? You actually broke it down and explained to me how he's a businessman, so what he does and how he thinks, how he maneuvers, all of that, right? He does that for him and for people who already have money. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm really trying to say.
so every entrepreneur, right? An entrepreneur is about ideas and vision, right? Every entrepreneur also wants to be a millionaire. So an entrepreneur finds a product or service that's going to make them money, and you do that by providing a service or creating a product for other people to use and benefit from. So whether Trump is addressing all these issues for his own personal reason, right? Whether he's building a wall because he wants to bloody put his name on it, okay? If the outcome is that he is stopping drugs and criminals coming over from Mexico, if that is helping and benefiting people, it doesn't matter whether or not he's doing it because he wants a sparkling wall. It doesn't matter. If the outcome is that it's helping people and he's doing his job, which is to help Americans, for example, it doesn't matter why he wanted that wall 3 foot bigger because Nancy Pelosi said that is too small. It doesn't fucking matter. Is it affecting people in a good way? Does the majority of people approve of it because it helps them, or do they not? And it all comes down to the majority of, is the majority happy? The answer is yes. President's doing a good job. The answer is no.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. My bad. If the answer is no.
If the answer is no, then you are serving the people. And if the majority says no, knock it down. It's not about you at that moment. It's about the majority of your people and what they want.
So the wall is being built. Is that what you're telling me?
Is that a question, or?
Yeah, that was a question.
Is the wall being built?
That's what you're telling me?
No. Are you asking me?
Yes,
is the wall
I'm
being
asking you. Is the wall being built?
A massive percentage of the wall has already been built and is being built now.
Right. So you're just now offering a solution. Do the people want the bridge or not? What the fuck? What? My bad.
Hang on, I don't understand. Like, explain. I don't understand.
You mean to tell me the wall? You said a massive percentage. That's why I wanted you to answer. A massive percentage of the wall has already been built. Right?
Yes.
There's an issue now. Correct? That's what you just brought up. Anyways, no. You're just now asking the people of America, after you've already built the wall, do you want the wall or not? The fuck?
No. So obviously, every time a president makes a decision, you can't ask every single American, for example, do you approve? It's just not how it works.
Don't insult me by asking me if I want the wall. You have already built the fucking wall. My bad. That's just my way of thinking. Why the hell you were supposed to like? Because the wall, like, what the fuck is the wall? No, I don't. The wall. Nah. because America, America has the terrorists, but they're here already. So building a wall only traps them in and keeps out allies, possibly. That's how I see it.
So what we're saying is that a person who's a president has to make decisions. He can't ask every single human, is this okay? Because no matter what you do, it's going to affect someone in other ways. But if the majority of people can understand why the wall is of a good reason as opposed to a bad reason, then that's what it's all about. If the majority of people agree, as in more than 50%, then it is serving the majority of America. As in, how does this wall affect people? Is it more in a good way or more in a bad way? If more than 50% say it's in a good way, if it's about serving the majority of people, then keep the wall up. But if the majority say no, it doesn't matter how many drugs come in, how many killers come in. If the majority don't want it and you're serving the majority, majority wins. Don't have the wall. But it's like, is the wall doing more good as opposed to more bad? That's what it comes down to.
What do you mean serving the people?
As in, you are running the country on behalf of
the people.
Yes,
right.
So the president is running
the majority of the people don't want the country, don't want the wall, but the president does.
If the majority of the people don't want something, the president should honor that. If the majority of people want something, the president should honor that. I don't believe that the president should do it because they want it, because they said they were going to do it. I don't believe that. But as a general perspective, when you understand what good does the wall do versus what bad does the wall do, how does it affect people without the wall, list all the good problems, list all the bad problems, weigh it up. Any person will be able to see on paper, are these reasons good? Are these reasons bad? Without being biased, for example, if you are an immigrant that came across the wall and you've helped your family, look at it from a subjective point of view or objective point of view. If you didn't come across the border and you were, say, Italian and you lived in Italy, having the wall, list the bad reasons versus the good reasons. Will it affect your life and your other fellow people's lives in a good way or bad way? And pretty much anyone should be able to see, is it a good thing having people coming over that are doing drugs? No. Is it a good thing having people coming over that are killers? No. It doesn't matter what country you ever come from.
Is it a good thing to have people who do drugs in the country and can't?
No. Bringing over drugs from, for example, Mexico.
Right, but the wall will stop some drugs.
Oh, of course, it won't stop everything.
A lot of drugs, right? So I just don't understand what the purpose is of the wall.
It's like addressing. It's like if you've got a house and you've got a roof and there's 6 holes, right? Water's coming through the bedroom, water's coming through the garage, water's coming through the kitchen, right? Each is, for example, the wall, aeroplane, boat smuggling, drone smuggling, right? Putting it in people's assholes, going through the airport. These are all ways that drugs will come into a country, right? There's like hundreds of different ways how drugs will come in, okay? So it's not, is building a wall going to stop drugs? Of course not. But overall, how much drugs are coming through with the wall versus without the wall? If, for example, the amount of drugs coming in and the amount of, for example, opioid overdoses have been reduced, then the wall has been a good thing as opposed to a bad thing. Now, it's not like, why doesn't he address the boat smuggling? Again, there's so many issues. Does he know about it? No. It just so happens that in your house, you've got 5 leaks. You don't avoid all the leaks because there's always going to be a leak. You address the kitchen if you can. You address the bathroom if you can. Even if it's still leaking a little bit, just putting some tape over it stops your bathroom or bedroom being wet, but there's still going to be water. So it's about trying to solve an issue in the best way possible, knowing that there's always going to be issues. There's like so many terrorist plots going on at the moment that when one happens, it's not, oh, we should be better than this, there should be more police. It's like, no, if you only knew how many terrorist plots have been stopped as we speak. You'd understand that one terrorist plot, they got lucky, but there were so many that were stopped that there's always going to be terrorist plots. There's always going to be problems in the police, problems in the street. For all the issues that happen with a police person, there's so many stuff that we don't see. If there was no laws, it literally would be dog eat dog. But it's because there are laws and policing and stuff that you don't see much of it. It's like the flu, for example. We are so close to having a flu epidemic. Without medicine and flu jabs, so many people would have had the flu. It's just certain things that it's all like, I shouldn't be taking the flu. My kids have the right to not take the flu jab, autism, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine, whatever. That's your opinion. That's great. I understand that. But reality is, we have become so used and accustomed to life being so perfect, having food come to Walmart, having food in a superstore. Okay, we have heating in our house. We don't have flu, to the point where we can be like, oh, I don't want to eat tonight. I don't want to take this jab. But it's like, if you knew what would happen if we didn't have the jabs, if you knew how starving and how problematic it would be to find food, if trucks didn't go to Walmart and take food, if you knew how much shit would be in the street without police, if you knew the additional shit that would happen without the wall, yeah, there's always ways that drugs are coming in. But that wall is just like 1 out of 20 different ways drugs come in. And out of 1 million drugs that would have come in without the wall, there may only be 900,000 drugs. And so you've benefited by 100,000.
So as opposed to everything else that's going on in America, the most important thing was the wall. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't make sense. There are things that have been plaguing America for generations. But the first thing you do is build a wall. Now, a person like myself is going to think, what is your real reason? Out of all this time, because first of all, America is the ones that bring the drugs into America. Can we, you know what I'm saying? So that's a fact. That's the truth we don't speak right there, right? America is upset about the drugs that they're either bringing in the country or they're supplying through pharmaceutical suppliers. You feel what I'm saying? So America is the one supplying the drugs, but you want to come in and stop the drugs by creating the jobs that you pay to not even get enough to sustain the cost of living. You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You come in and that's the first thing you wanna talk about a wall. Bring what? Like, it's something else going on with the wall. It's not just the wall. Like, it's something going. There's something in the future that's going to happen, and it's going to succeed only because the wall was there to help secure the W on that mission. That's how I see the wall. So that's why it don't benefit. How does that benefit? It's still potholes. Like, all the money they spent, all the manpower, bro, all the dollar, bro, it's still potholes. These people who wake up every day and hit a pothole on the way to work. Like, man, where I stay, bro, they built something to go with City Hall. But there's nothing to do for the youth to do in the, you know what I'm saying, the town, or the town I live in. It's just, that's how I see the way. That's because I'm humanity, bro. I'm all about humanity. I don't really care about a dollar bill. I only make those because I need them to survive. You feel what I'm saying? In the society that has been set up. It's something going on with the wall. I'm telling you, bro. Because you ain't here, and you're lucky. I think, but you ain't here. I'm here. They putting this wall up for one day, bro. Like people say the Bible. I don't necessarily believe in the Bible, but I believe the Bible is telling people something. You feel what I'm saying? And when
Absolutely.
They say the first time it was water, the second time it was fire, I do believe that. I do believe it's going to be fire and mass extinction. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I honestly believe. But I don't believe the Bible. But one day, bro, you going to be looking, y'all, you going to be wherever you at. And y'all be like, damn, there go the U.S. Telling you. You gonna be like, damn, I was talking to that dude, Uncle Leon, one time. Hey, don't be sad for me, bro. Hey, smoke a stick, bro. Smoke a blunt, man, and drink and take a shot of no, drink a bottle of Jack Daniels, man. That's all I drink, man. I'm telling you, come on, man.
Oh dear.
Man.
So
I
yeah,
hate
like
to cut it short.
as for so it's not possible for one person to run the whole of America. It's just like
No,
you can only do certain things where other states can follow because it's like in harmony with what humanity want. For example, just love and peace, whatever. But the potholes, for example, it's nothing to do with Trump and Washington. It's to do with your local state. There's only certain things that federal can really do, which is if they need money.
If they delegated that money better, and then, for instance, do you know America's in debt, right?
Yeah.
U.S. is in debt. They have the audacity to give us, the citizens, a credit score. The fuck, you can't even pay your own bills, but you trying to tell me? Nah, come on, bro. It's a lot. That's what I'm saying, bro. What's up? What? But look, I gotta cut this short, man. My old lady upstairs. I'm in down here talking to you, and you a guy. She might look at me funny. I'm playing.
He's
But
doing a sex show in the garage.
I'm finna goddamn, none of that. Pause. But I'm finna go on up here to her, man. It was nice talking to you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sure.
We'll do it. We'll do it at any point. We'll do it again whenever you wish. I'll come on yours. Just let me know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I sent you my email. That's how you got the Skype, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So just send a copy of this to that email, please, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, yeah.
Appreciate that.
No problem.
Appreciate that.
All right. Take care,
y'all.
my friend.
All right, one love, man.
One love. Cheers.